Good evening, everyone. I'm Nat Adamopoulos, and this is Full On Football, the show that promotes local South Australian football. Well, we've had another great week of football where we've had some historic events happening, some good and some not so good, and we're going to be talking about all them this week. But first off, one of the brilliant historical events that happened was one of our local players playing his 350th first-class match, and we've been lucky enough to get him on tonight, and that of course is Jason Trimboli from Campbelltown City Red Devils. Welcome back to Full On Football.
Thank you very much, Nat.
Look, I got to ask, I've got to firstly say congratulations on your 350th, and I remember not very long ago, a couple of years ago, sitting on the fence at Para Hills talking to you when you were playing for Raiders and you were ready to hang up the boots.
Yes, I do remember that conversation that we had, and it's been something that I guess has been in the back of my mind for a long time now, whether to continue playing or whether to stop. And I've been taking it as a year-by-year basis, and as long as I can, I guess, cause some defenders some nightmares, then I'll continue to play. But you know, since we spoke, things have gone very well, and I'm happy that I'm still playing.
Now, you are labelled as one of the best strikers in South Australia, and you know, there's not many people that wouldn't agree with that. What made you change your mind? Because you were pretty well set on, you know, giving it away.
Yeah, that year I was coaching with the under-15 state development team, and I really enjoyed it. And it was something that you know, I've looked forward to step into once I finished playing. And when the season finished, I finished on a bit of a high. I think I scored 3 or 4 in the last 2 games. So I was thinking to myself, can I continue to play? Why not? You know, there's plenty of time to coach once I finish. So I had a good chat with my family, and we thought the best thing to do was to continue playing. Fantastic.
And of course you landed yourself at Campbelltown. You've been doing very well since you've been there as well.
Definitely. Look, Campbelltown's been a surprise for me. I was at Raiders, and unfortunately wasn't required there halfway through last year, and had a call from Campbelltown the next day and gave me another opportunity. And I must admit, the club itself and the players that I play with are absolutely fantastic, and I'm so happy that I'm out there, and looks like it'll be a lovely club to finish my career at.
And yeah, and I have to say you haven't missed a beat since you've been there, because you have been an integral part of the side. Just to let viewers know about Jason's 350th. Or 350 games. He debuted in 92 with Para Hills, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yep, and you played 64 games there, 28 goals. You then went on to Burkalla, 65 matches there for 51 goals. Then to Raiders, you played 126 games, so amazingly why they didn't require you, it makes you beg to think why, for 97 goals there. Then for Modbury, you did a stint at Modbury, which we all remember very, very well. 71 games there for 40 goals. And so far, including your goal last week with Campbelltown, 25 matches for 23 goals. That's not too bad.
No, look, it is pretty good when you break it down like that. You know, as I always say, I've got to take into account the midfielders that I have supplying me crosses and through balls, and I've been lucky enough to play with the best that South Australia's had. So you know, it's one thing to say you're a great striker and you score goals, but you know, without the players behind me supplying me with those balls, I wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Now, unfortunately for yourself, you've had no Adelaide United call-ups when they started up, or national experience, but I'd like to ask you, what's your highlight so far in your career? Something that really sticks out as a moment or a pivotal moment in your career?
It's funny, I get asked that quite a bit, and there's not one moment, I guess, that really stands out. There's been a lot of moments that, for different reasons, I keep close to my heart. Obviously, the 2002 Grand Final against Blue Eagles, where playing for Raiders, we beat them 2-1, and I scored both goals. I mean, the way you felt the next day was unbelievable, you know. I also felt very proud for Modbury when we made the 2 grand finals in a row, and unfortunately didn't win any of those. But you know, Modbury was a lovely club. We took them from almost relegation the year before up to making a grand final, and that wasn't just me. That was you know, Dwayne Dobson, Mark Yates and Charles Marwin, a few other boys that were there. So, you know, that sort of whole year was fantastic. And, you know, there's not any one single moment. There are just a lot of lovely memories.
Well, of course, we're going to see a lovely memory, and that is you scoring a goal in your 350th match through some footage. But first, what I'd like to do is have a look at the results from round 8 from the Super League. And if we have a look at those, of course, Adelaide Galaxy were defeated by Modbury Jets with their new coach, Neil Henderson. So that's a great win for them. They won, as I said, 2-1. Christopherson scoring for Galaxy, and Kelly and Salagna scoring for Modbury Jets. Para Hills defeated Adelaide Hills 2-1, with Malady and Sinaski scoring for Para Hills and Elliott for Adelaide Hills. Western Strikers went down to Adelaide City 2-0, with Chad Bajaya and an own goal being scored there for Adelaide City. On the Sunday match, which we also have footage of, MetroStars 2 defeated Raiders 0. Very, very tight match, that one. Really nothing in it, but MetroStars found the back of the net twice with Monterosso and Lewis Brain. And of course, your match coming out winners 3-0 against Adelaide Blue Eagles, top of the table leaders, with Torre, Signorella and yourself scoring that goal. I have to say, comprehensively, you guys defeated Adelaide Blue Eagles in that match. Yeah, look,
so far in the 3 games that I've played Blue Eagles, they've always been very tight contests. There's normally it's normally 0-0, 1-0, or we've got up to the heights of a 1-1 draw. So, you know, if you said before the game we were going to win 3-0, I don't think anyone would have believed you. And, you know, we honestly didn't believe that either team would win 3-0. We believed it was going to be a very tight game. They have a very good coach who has them drilled well. But to our credit, Rocky came up with a different system for the game, and we played it to a T. And you know, at the end of the day, to win 3-0 is a brilliant result for not only us players but for the club as a whole, because they really love it when we can beat Blue Eagles.
No, it was a very good match, and as I said, we will look at that footage in a minute. But first of all, we're going to go to the MetroStars and Raiders footage and have a look at that. As I said, it was a very, very tight match. Not a lot in it. Ebbed and flowed between the two sides. I think it was more of a case of who was going to make the mistakes, and unfortunately Raiders were the ones that did make more unforced errors, weren't able to find the back of the net. They did get up there, and as you'll see from these highlights, there's quite a lot of Raiders highlights. Now, a golden opportunity there by young Craig Goodwin, who just went wide of the post there. Great opportunity for him to get his, I think, first goal. I don't think he's actually scored for Raiders yet, but starting every week now, so fantastic for the young fella. I think he's only 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, so great stuff for a young up-and-coming player. As I said, very, very tight, but MetroStars are the sort of team that can come out on top. Jason, I mean, of course, you've faced them plenty of times, and they've got great quality players, haven't they?
Definitely. Look, MetroStars are one of the benchmark teams in the league, up there with Adelaide City. Everyone wants to beat them, or wants to make sure that when they play that they play on the same level. So, you know, we haven't played Metro in the season yet. Game was postponed, but we played Raiders, and you know, they're a very young team. Raiders, John Duthie's done a great job in bringing a group of players from different clubs together, and they certainly are going to cause a lot of trouble in the second half of the season.
That was a terrible foul there on Dan Godley by Mimi Saric. I've looked at that a couple of times. Very lucky that Dan came away with really basically no injuries at all, because he did go flying quite a bit, got his feet pulled out from underneath him. And Mimi Saric getting himself a yellow card on that occasion. Did get spoken to by the referee on a couple of occasions. Very, very emotional game. Obviously, Raiders have been doing very, very well, as you mentioned, Jason. So, you know, they were out to try and get a win in this match as well. I thought both keepers did well. Seems to be the year of the keepers this year, because all keepers are across all 10 teams are doing very, very well.
They are indeed. You know, I'll put out a special mention to the Adelaide Hills goalkeeper, who this year he's been absolutely fantastic. And you know, as you said, the keepers all round. There are a lot of great keepers going around the Super League at the moment. and you know they're doing their job and they're standing out, which is great for them, because as we know, keepers don't always get a lot of the praise.
Exactly. I'm a great fan of the keepers, and they are standing up this year and doing very, very, very well. Of course, we had at this stage.